Sometimes I speak and I feel like it ain't my words, like I'm just a vessel channeling inside this universe. Sometimes I speak and I feel like it ain't my words, like I'm just a vessel channeling inside this universe.
Welcome to the Maderi Music Podcast, where we explore the intersections of creative arts, healing, psychology, politics, and social justice. As always, we are your hosts, Dorian Wallace.
And it's your girl, Marie Cecily.
Sometimes I speak and I feel like it ain't my words, like I'm just a vessel channeling inside this universe. Sometimes I speak and I feel like it ain't my words, like I'm just a vessel channeling inside this universe. Sometimes I speak and I feel like it ain't my words, like I'm just a vessel channeling inside this universe. Sometimes I speak and I feel like it ain't my words, like I'm just a vessel channeling inside this universe. Sometimes I speak and I feel like it ain't my words, like I'm just a vessel channeling inside this universe. Sometimes I speak and I feel like it ain't my words, like I'm just a vessel channeling inside this universe. Sometimes I speak and I feel like it ain't my words, like I'm just a vessel channeling inside this universe.
Cool. All right. Hey, what's up, everybody? Today it's just gonna be Dorian. Marisa is right now in Mexico doing a legacy tour with 10 different families, and they're right now just on the West Coast and working their way down Mexico to see really important places and spaces for Black and Brown people. So she was gonna try to get in here. We're able to text a little bit, but the internet's just not working. But today we have a very, very cool guest. This is Propaganda. Is that how I call you?
Yep.
Yeah, and Propaganda. Just from I'll let you introduce yourself. But from my understanding, you're a hip hop artist and a podcast host, as well as doing the coffee thing, which
doing
is
the
fucking
coffee
dope.
thing.
So I actually learned about you from there's a journalist who I really have a lot of respect for named Robert Evans, who does the Behind the Bastards series, and just listen to the series you two did together, which was Behind the Police, and you also did Cracktoberfest, which is about
Cracktoberfest was so fun.
Yeah, and then also the Behind the Insurrection, which is about just different fascist insurrections that have happened throughout history. And reached out to Propaganda and wanted to shoot the shit. And so, what's up?
Let's shoot it. Shoot it. Yeah. Man, thanks for having me. Thanks for that. Yeah, that's about it. I got a cold brew coffee, poetry, hip hop, and man, I feel like I've been a part of the struggle, man. I when y'all DM'd us as far as like, what you doing, I mean, it's right up my alley, and I'm like, it's like the perfect cross section of like hip hop, justice, all of it, you know what I'm saying? Music, all of it. I the show I do is kind of like built around the premise of, the people you've been sort of, serving for the past whatever years, that like, man, if you understand the streets, man, you understand politics, and if you actually are much more equipped to engage in sort of the highbrow, high level social and political sort of dialogue, and actually more equipped to make change. You know what I'm saying? You actually have the power that a lot of these sort of public figures and politicians have to pay for. Like, you already got it. You know what I'm saying? So, man, to jump on something like this is like, this is an honor, man.
Yeah. So I guess, like, just to start off, we can get into the more spiritual and philosophical spaces later. But I'm actually just I'm got a specific question. Just what brought you to hip hop? Like, how'd you end up doing what you do?
Man, so I'm from LA. I'm from the East Side, and like, I was young enough to be absolutely mesmerized and have my superheroes be, the dudes out here that were creating a scene, that like, whether it was, the sort of the Tony Hawks and the Bones Brigades down in, Santa Monica, but also The Good Life, Project Load, Radiotron, like all this stuff was kind of happening in my early childhood, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you're in this place, and my God, like the break-in movies, took place down the street. You know what I mean? So you're like,
Yeah.
really? This is our city? So, and while like the LA is like, it has been a tale of two cities as far as music is concerned, sort of the whole time, because you have like the NWAs, the DJ Quicks, and all this stuff is happening, but you also have Far Side, Dilated Peoples, you know what I'm saying? You have this other sort of Jurassic 5, this other scene happening at the same time, so I fell in love with graffiti first, and graffiti sort of like introduced me to like breakdancing, which introduced me to like DJs, which finally landed me at an open mic and was like, we was all street kids, you know what I'm saying? But like, if you weren't gangbanging, you know what I mean? It was like, well, this is different, So I kind of fell in love with hip hop like that,
Wow. Yeah, it's I'm glad you brought up graffiti as kind of an intro. There's a book that I really highly recommend to everybody. It's by Christopher Emdin. Are you familiar with Chris Emdin?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got the book for white folks who teach in the hood and the rest of y'all.
Yeah.
And he talks about graffiti as basically creation, like a manifestation of people who have very limited access to already built-in power, and so there's like no control over just the environment, what it looks like, and graffiti is like we're gonna make this place our own, like
make it our own, man.
Yeah
There's like, again, the tale of the two cities. There's the graffiti that's like, that's really your Google map, you know what I mean? As far as like, okay, that's that hood. Don't go over there. Make sure your shoelaces are the right color here. You know what I'm saying? So there's that. And then there's, which you just learn to be able to read that if you want to survive. You know what I'm saying? So you better know how to read that. You know what I'm saying? And then there's the graffiti that's like the one that mesmerized me, from the backseat of my mom's car getting dropped off at my grandma's house, like the LA River murals the size of buildings, you know what I'm saying? And being like, dude, somebody did, like, you just snuck down there and did that? Like, and you're just like, oh shit, I want to do that. Whatever that is, I want to do that, and again, you're driving down the freeway and way up on the sign, somebody's like dangling on the side of the freeway. You wrote your name way up there on that. I'm like, I want to do that. I want to do that, So yeah, and like you said, and it's creative. Like I was always an artist. Like I was tending towards the art. So I'm like, this is dope.
Yeah.
The competition of it, of like, trying to catch the dopest spots versus, and then like crossing somebody out, and then like there's the violence elements to it of like, you squab. It was still that adrenaline rush. But at the end of the day, it's like, man, I'm not gonna shoot you over the color of your shoelaces, fam. Like I'm good, you know what I mean? Like that wasn't appealing to me,
Yeah
but we lived it, you know what I'm saying? Like we got down, it is what it is, but like I just wanted to do something else,
yeah. So yeah, like the thing I noticed, because so I, first up, like a huge fan of hip hop, but just to be like frank with you, it's like I'm way more familiar with East Coast than West Coast. Just and it's like personally, like my favorite two lyricists kind of in like different spaces are Nas and MF Doom.
Of course.
Like it's like those two, like they're just they're tapping into something that I don't know. It's just that they're mad geniuses. And
correct.
And anyways, I hadn't really heard your music until recently, and I've listened to all the albums that are on Apple Music now.
Let's go. Deep dive. All right.
Yeah.
So you've seen the trajectory then,
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, it's like I think it's worth, like you got to know an artist, like what you can learn about them. And the thing I really was drawn to your work is you have a clarity of messaging, but you also have just this really organic flow when you're saying everything. And the thing that I really appreciated the most is that I haven't really heard the way that you combine sort of like the art of emceeing with spoken word poetry.
Yeah.
That's like, that was something really, really different that I thought was pretty mesmerizing. But
Man, I appreciate that.
yeah, I guess, like, you know, how do you develop your skill?
Yeah, man. Honestly, it was out here, like, you know, open mics, you know, freestyle, a battling, you know what I'm saying? But just an absorption of the culture too. Cause, like, yeah, I mean, you know, hard agree, MF Doom and Nas, you know what I'm saying? Like, and what New York was doing, you know, before I even knew, honestly, that LA had a scene too, because I was too young, you know what I'm saying? So, like, I was just going to Fat Beats myself, you know, on Melrose, and just buying, you know, the tapes and, you know, the CDs that I could, before I knew LA had a scene, or I was even old enough to go anyway, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, so, but once I was, yeah, it was like, there was a spot called the Poetry Lounge and another one called Mike and Dim Lights, you know, and then there was, for me, there was 2 weeklies, one called Foundation, and then another one was called Project Blowed, which is where the gauntlet of, it was the crucible that if you weren't a part of Dr. Dre's circle, if you were gonna be from Los Angeles, you had to go through this gauntlet. You know what I'm saying? So everybody passed through there, you know. Then you had, like, there's a documentary about a spot called Elements, you know what I mean? That which is, it just kind of came out on Apple TV too. That just kind of tells the story of the scene and kind of how I developed it. And I think what was interesting about LA, again, like, both of those things, at the rap open mics and at the poetry open mics, for me, I started doing the poetry because I just thought I could try to become a better writer, you know? And I think the type of hip hop that you and I are talking about, like, you had to have something to say, you know, it and you had to say it well, obviously, you know what I'm saying? So, like, all of those things, it's almost like, you know, if you had, like, an Olympic scorecard, it's like style, finesse, patterns, originality, depth, you know, spirituality, like, all that stuff counted, you know what I mean? And if you were dope, you were dope, you know? So, like, and I think a lot of the stuff for us, like, you know, you have, like, the Wu-Tang, like, aggressive kind of 5% nation, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, in your face. You have the Nation of Islam stuff from, like, the Poor Righteous Teachers and stuff. Like, in LA, the weather was perfect, you know, we're not, like, mad at each other. You know what I'm saying? So we all just existed, you know, Rasta, FOI, you know, Muslim, Christian, you know what I'm saying? Like, everybody was all in the same space, and you just brought the good energy. So I think in that type of environment, I was able to learn how to develop and articulate, you know, faith, spirituality in a way that's not so, like, polarizing, or, like, in a way that's just not going to turn people off, like I'm some sort of, like, you know, sort of closed-minded white evangelical, you know what I'm saying? Because white evangelicals wasn't letting rap in their church anyway. So, like, so I didn't, you know, we don't come from no Bible Belt state. You feel me? Like, this ain't the South where you could go rap at a church, you know? So I didn't develop, I really learned how to talk about my faith from Rastas. You know what I'm saying? So, like, so you learn how to, like, be a part of the scene, be a part of the community, and say what you mean in a way that's, like, only time I'm gonna be aggressive is if you challenge me as an MC. Then I was like, oh, I'll murder your styles. But besides that, it's like, nah, you know, it's cool. Weather's great. Smoke this. You know, it's great. Yeah. You know,
this is you know, this is coming from a jazz perspective. There was a festival I was at in Chicago, and some of this is like a long time ago, but some of the judges were New York City cats, but the guest, like, big band, I'm not going to say names because it got a little shady, but there was a LA big band that was, like, the main artist, and, like, the New York guys were just like, they were like, man, like, they get to go to the beach all fucking day. How the fuck can you play the blues? Like,
I get it. You're right. It's just like, we have no, like, they really have, like, our problems is, like, I mean, we live in a war zone because, like,
oh, of course.
But besides that, I was like, dude, the weather's, like, I'm not mad at. I have nothing to be mad about. Like, it's fine. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So, like, that was one thing that I was, like, really, really impressed with just like the content was so like, part of, all right, I'll just get like a little
Get there.
personal on it. So like, yes, I started off basically a Republican from Ohio. That's like my family. Yeah, that's my family
Let's go.
background.
Okay.
Yeah. But like when I say Republican, it was like I didn't actually understand the policies or anything. It's just everyone I knew was, my whole family was. It's just what you did.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until fast forward, ended up joining the military and like just started to really see the war crimes that our government commits, and also like just the realization of like it was like, I've never been around like this many non-white people in my entire life, and it was like wow. So there we talk about diversity initiatives and all this shit, but when they need you to go kill for capital, like they have no fucking problem making a diverse space. And so it just a lot of it opened up, and I ended up realizing, I don't even want to say I became, but it's like started to realize I was like, holy shit, I'm a socialist. Like I'm a fucking left winger. Like holy shit. And left the military just because it was very, very disillusioned. But anyways, this is kind of a long way to get back to the original point, was that the reason I got into hip hop specifically, aside from the fact that like that I already did listen to the music to some degree. But I was at a club, jazz club in Ohio, and there's a saxophone player there, and like he and I were really, really tight. And I went up on stage, played a little bit, and like came off and just felt like shit. And I was like talking to my dude, and it was like, man, like what the, like I know all my shit, like I got good ears, like I got technique, I know how to like find shit, but like I don't know what like isn't clicking when I do the solos. And he was like, man, it's because you a white ass motherfucker. And like, he like said it. He just
simple.
And so like we like talked it through, and I was like, all right, like what do I do about that? And so he said two pretty offensive things that are pretty misogynistic. But then the third point,
got it.
The third point, he was like, and you got to listen to violent ass hip hop. And I was like, oh, okay. And he was like, he's like, you're trying to play music 40 years that's 40 years old, and you don't even understand the culture now. Like, how are you going to understand what was happening then? And so started, actually, to be honest, like I started with Eminem because it was like he's white boy from the Midwest, but he's like really well respected, like as far as his skill. And so anyways, like got into that, and like ended up leading to Wu-Tang. Wu-Tang was really like when it was like, oh fuck, these dudes are geniuses. Like this isn't and like that spread, into like learning about like a lot of the mainstreamers and the undergrounders. Anyways, all of this to say that one of my missions in life is to actually endorse the sort of the beauty of the hip hop movement, because it tells a true story. Like and so all of that to say that I talked to my parents. I've gotten them to listen to things, and my mom is like starting to like really understand the beauty in the art, but the cursing like gets to her.
She can't do it.
That was one thing. Like I sent her your stuff, and I was like, I think I found the guy.
That's dope, man. Yeah, that's dope. That's cool, man. I hope I could be like her marijuana. You know, just the gateway drug to get her into the culture.
Well, because like that's one of the things is like, a lot of the like the quote unquote like Christian hip hop that I've come across, it's like it's just, I don't know, like it doesn't have the authenticity, and like you're actually hip hop. And
a lot of without like throwing too much shade, but like there's there's even a divide in that scene too. Because a lot of them dudes didn't come out of the culture, and like I said, like the things for, people like me and artists like me, like we all came from the same scene, so, and I think, again, like I said before, like those dudes grew out of like church. They grew out of a church environment, a church culture, CCM, which is like Christian contemporary music. So like, in some ways, a lot of those dudes are a derivative of that, so since, and their goal is different. Like they're rapping so they can evangelize, so they can win souls, you know what I'm saying? And some of those dudes are like super street guys that go to prison, get radically converted, and they come out and they go hard like that because of what they came from, you know what I'm saying? So they're very closed-minded in the way that they, closed-minded is, I'm putting that on them, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but like,
yeah.
You know, in the way that they present, like I said, like I just didn't have that story, I'm not from a Bible Belt state. I don't come from like a traditional white evangelical background, you know what I'm saying? Like my father was a Black Panther, you know what I mean? So we come from much more socialist movements that are like much more community integrated, you know what I mean? So because of that, and as far as like the cussing it was like a little bit of it's interesting you even bringing up jazz, because like our scene out here at LA kind of grew out of the Crenshaw district, and at the Good Life, which I was a little too young for, but at the Good Life, it was a health food cafe. That was like the open mic that, I mean, everybody, Exhibit, Freestyle Fellowship, Daz, Corrupt, everybody came out of this space. But at that space, the owner wouldn't let you cuss. Like if you was on the mic, you couldn't curse. So it was so like, because we were kids, you know what I mean? So that was like her rules. Like you can't lean on the paintings, you can't curse, right? And it's over by 10. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So, because it was supposed to be, again, like in the height of gang violence, this was supposed to be an alternative. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it just grew into a scene. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So you just develop an ability to say what you got to say without cussing. And you save the curse words for battle rap. You know what I mean? So when we go outside and we're battling, that's where all the curse words come out. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I just got used to writing raps without cuss words. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Because of that, But I bring up the jazz scene is because like in the Crenshaw area, in the Lamert Park area, where again a lot of our hip hop scene came from, in the 50s and 60s, that was our jazz scene. So all the players came into different places, a place called Fifth Street Dicks, you know what I mean, in these different rooms that was essentially, this was our Harlem, you know what I'm saying, of jazz and improv and Black excellence and stuff like that. So then ultimately when these people had kids, those kids were the children of the 70s that brought hip hop into our scene. So we come from, our scene comes from jazz. So when you listen to like early 90s, like Freestyle Fellowship, one of our patron saints is a guy named Mike Anine. He's a trumpet player. You know what I mean? So the way that he raps like a trumpet player, you know what I'm saying? So so a lot of that, like, early stuff, it's very jazz influenced, and improv was a part of it. And a part of that, like what I was gonna say in relation to what your boy was telling you about, like why you having a hard time, is like, man, you gotta relax. You know what I'm saying? Like you was thinking too hard. You gotta relax, homie. Like we're chilling. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is fun.
Yeah.
This is a release because our life is so stressful. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you come here to relax, homie. Like it's guttural. Like you tapping in, like you said, you tapping into like hundreds of years of ancestral joy only in this moment. You feel me? But the rest of this is like, because the rest of it's work. You feel me? This moment, we free. So like,
wow.
Relax, bro. Like you're playing piano. This is supposed to be fun. Relax.
Wow.
So for us it was like, this is hip hop, man. This is fun.
Wow. Dude, I never thought of it that way, but it's like you nailed it right on the head, which is actually, I mean, just what you were saying, like, Nas's dad Aludara, he's a trumpet player.
Trumpet player.
Like, yeah, yeah.
Come from jazz. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and it's I just think that like you look at the history of jazz and like there's like two very distinct eras. In there's obviously
black jazz,
like,
white jazz.
yeah. There's obviously like many like subtleties like within it, nuance, but like in general, there's like the early era, which was basically like this is how you make a living and you entertain white people, and that's it. And like that's why like even though there are like masters of the craft like Duke Ellington, Louis Armstrong, but like they have that like sort of fake ass smile thing going on. And so then in the 50s, that was when the bebop movement happened. That was like, Miles and Charlie Parker and John Coltrane. And that was like a fuck you. We're playing like the shit that we actually, And so like, like it just was very, very obviously like part of the liberation movement that was going on within this colonized nation state, that fascist state that we live in.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, like, yeah. So one of the things that like really was important about hip hop, just on a personal note, was like I remember like at first like I was listening to it for the craft and for the music, and but it started to get to a like wait a second, they're all talking about the same shit. Like, and like I don't think there was like a meeting that everyone went to where it was like, all right, here's the script. But like it was just one of those like it was like they're talking about the same.
We're not making this up. Like it's a shared experience.
Well, and like there's I think it's Impossible by Wu-Tang, where Raekwon, the last line he says, it's he's like, hey, don't forget, this is just a story, but from the real. And it's like that. It's like this incident is mythology, but it's based on something that is true.
Yes.
And it was about like friend. It was specifically Ghostface Killer's verse where his friend gets shot, Jamie gets shot, and he's like, basically standing over him, like trying to like save him, and the cops are fucking laughing like during it, and so it just
those are real experiences. No, I agree.
So it was just very educational.
That's dope, man. I've often wondered what that would be like for someone to like jump in honestly, like not from a colonial perspective, but just honestly like, hey, I'm going to learn something, and seeing your experience.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So the reason I brought that up was that was one thing that I found so impressive about just the work that you're doing in all your facets, all your different like spaces, because you take these high level like complex things and you just make it so digestible. And so like I'm wondering like what inspires that? Where's that come from?
I feel like I'm a teacher at heart, and without being too corny, it's really is an outflow of hip hop. Like I said, my father was a Black Panther. My father was a very smart man. He's also very street, and so the environment that I was in, even in my own sort of education, like you said, I live in a white dominant culture. So I realize now the leg up of saying, while I'm learning this at school, founding father stories, whatever, my dad has already had me write book reports about this time. So I'm already in my head as the teacher talking, I'm already filling in the blanks already in my head. You know what I'm saying? And being like, nah, that's not what happened. Okay, I get what you're saying, but like, oh, so you're saying this, and this is all happening in again, the layout of California, the suburbs aren't suburbs. You know what I mean? Like they street too. You know what I'm saying? So no matter where you are, if you're at least around my age, you had to interact with, street life. So you're already learning those lessons while you're learning these, so eventually at least for me, it was like those things started blending. And then being able to put together a 16 bar verse means I have to boil those ideas into 16 bars. You know what I mean? So after a while, you just get good at it. But yeah, I taught high school for about 6 years. So I taught ninth grade inner city school. And I think that challenge of, how do I get these like juvenile hall, you know what I'm saying? Like, this just wide swath of kids and I was teaching history and social science. So how do I get y'all to like understand what I'm trying to say? So that means that for myself, I have to like retool, regurgitate, rethink, and put myself in their shoes and be able to say exactly what I mean, filter out what you really don't need to know, in the sense that some of it is just respectability politics. Some of it is just Googleable. Like you can look up the date. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you look up when this happened and what happened before that. You feel me? But like, rap is about making you feel what I felt, especially when if it's autobiographical, or if it's a matter of like, I need to get you into that moment. Somebody like you brought up Ghostface, like Wu-Tang and Ghostface had us, specific. I feel like Meth and Ghost really had us running around here in 95-degree weather in like hoodies and Timberlands. You know what I'm saying? Because you just felt like you wanted to be, you were there. You feel me? So, and that's the same thing that like, the NWAs and like Snoop and it was doing. They made you feel like you was there, So to me, that's what I try to do when it comes to like teaching, is like, I want you to feel like you was there, So you have to take these concepts that are abstract and be like, well, if I was there, what would I be experiencing? You know what I'm saying? And teach it or explain it from that perspective, and then that eventually it's just like you realize like it's actually not that complicated. I mean, it's complicated, of course, but it's not that complicated. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you understand people are just people, you know what I'm saying? And like, if I don't, like you said, if I don't play the respectability politics, then the streets and the boardroom ain't that different.
Yeah. There's a book I'm reading right now. Well, like I do the Audible thing, the audiobooks, but
me too.
It's let me actually pull up the name so I don't fuck it up.
Yeah, right.
It's called pulling it up. Yeah, it's called The Withdrawal, and it's Noam Chomsky and Vijay Prashad with foreword by Angela Davis.
Wow.
And
okay,
it's about all
That's
the
a heavy
withdrawals.
Lift.
It's all the withdrawals from Iraq, Libya, Afghanistan, and it's about U.S. power. And first off, like it's the trio of trios. Kind of
right.
It's like, because it's really just documentation of a conversation that they were having.
Wow.
And anyways, the reason I bring all this up is U.S. politics aren't that complicated once you understand that it's literally about keeping and maintaining some kind of power.
It's that simple. Authority. I'm just trying to stay a top dog. I'm trying to make this money and stay a top dog. So I'm gonna do what's best for me. Yeah.
Like that's literally it. And it's like, and like the thing about like they have a whole thing on Donald Trump, like how it's like he's actually like he was crazier than a lot of the presidents, like regarding his like manner of being and like his, you know, bluntness. But like one of the reasons people liked him was because he just, I mean, Dave Chappelle talked about this in a couple weeks ago. It's like he came out of the house, doing all the shit that they're doing. He was like, "Hey, we're doing all the shit that you thought we were doing."
It's exactly what you think it is.
And then he went back in and just kept doing the shit. But like people felt like, "Oh, yeah." So it just,
a truthful liar. That's what he said, like a truthful liar. Yeah, it's like, we're doing exactly. I'm cheating on my taxes. Yeah, we all cheat on our taxes. That's why we're millionaires. It's exactly what you think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, we're just gonna go to Iraq to take the oil. Like he would.
It's exactly what we're doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And fuck them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, who the fuck? I don't care about them. They're less than me. Fuck them.
Yeah.
We want their oil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just so that's one thing, like when you got to talking about just like the Iran Contra story, like, you know, you ended up bringing in like Bloods and Crips and well, first off, like, you know, that in and of itself is like a complicated story. Like
it can be. Yeah.
Well, because, you know, like I've gotten to know a lot of Bloods and a lot of Crips, like just from working in the prison system. And like, you know, first and foremost, like when you actually get to, out of all the like incarcerated folks like I've ever worked with, like they tend to be very, very intelligent and like just the way that they understand the world. And like it just kind of hit me. It was like, man, y'all are literally just businessmen.
That's my premise. That's the whole premise of my whole show is that. Yeah.
It's like they're businessmen who like have to take matters into their own hands. Like they can't like pay off somebody to do it. They just do it themselves. But like this isn't any different than what goes on at Wall Street. It's just
not at all.
It's just a microcosm.
Not at all.
And like, you know, like all that to be said, it's like, you know, like we had music therapy sessions where we'd have like different gangs. We'd have like a Trinidadian and Latin King and a Blood and a Crip, like all in the same group. And like we're like, you know, listening to like Meek Mill or something like that. And like, you know, they're all like connecting.
They're like,
to, and it was, it was just, and it just, I don't know, like it helped explain just on like a processing mechanism that it's like, this is literally not so complicated. Like we made it complicated. You know, the world made it complicated. I'll say white people made it complicated.
I was gonna say it's like this idea. You're still like, because the feeling is like, because anybody that's other, you know, melanated in any way is, according to a white dominant world, is exotic. You know, so if they're exotic, then that means they're different than us. So surely they have a whole different. It has to be complicated because we're not the same species. You know what I'm saying? So that means that they need to be studied in a very special, unique way that doesn't apply to white people. You know, so now it's getting complicated because you have to do this mental rigmarole to support your white supremacy. You know what I'm saying? Rather than being like, well, anyone in this environment, given these circumstances, are going to make the same choices that we've all made because of what was happening, right? Because we are human like you are. You know what I'm saying? Right? So, and a cursory walk through the sticks of Alabama will tell you the same thing. It's like, well, they're given the same infrastructure. They're going to make the same choices. And like you said, if I'm Starbucks, I don't want a Pete's coffee next door.
Yeah.
Why the hell would I do that? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, if I'm a part of a Soviet bloc, why the hell would I want a NATO nation right next to me? Of course I'm a shoot. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is you talking about? Right? Again, if you Ronald Reagan and you believe that the scourge of the earth is communism, why the hell would I be okay with a communist nation right up under me? That's ridiculous. So, you a Crip. Of course I don't want no Bloods moving in next door. Like I'm if anything, I think Schoolboy Q said it. He was like, if anything, like you have to remember, like gang members, we're just sensitive. Like we're very sensitive and we very nervous because if I'm gonna shoot you over a tattoo, it's because I'm sensitive. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and yeah, you're sensitive because of, you know, lived experiences where it's like, nah, you put my life in danger. You too close to my house. That's scary. You know, so, and you're right. Nation states function the same. And if you sit down with a blood, you sit down with a Latin king, you sit down with anybody, they're going to have the same answer. It's like, nah, bro, I need living space. Like, you know, you do yours, I do mine. Don't get in the way of mine. But I understand if I'm going to expand my territory, I'm asking for a war. And I need to count the cost. Do I really, is the money I'm going to make from this war worth it? And if it is, let's shoot. You know what I'm saying? If it's not, then I'm going to figure out another way to do this. But like, what you not finna do is move in next door. You know what I'm saying? Right? And that's the Ukrainian Russian war. It's just like, I don't want you move in next door. You know?
So y'all just heard exactly what I was talking about making complex things very, very digestible. Like you just did it right here.
Yeah, it's because it's lived. Yeah, because the truth is, like you said, it's lived experience. When you understand that we're all the same species, we all gonna make the same choices given these, you know, circumstances. Then like, yeah, it's not hard.
Yeah,
no, it's complicated. I'm sorry, but yeah, it's complicated once you start laying in vocabulary and terms. That's when it gets complicated. You know what I'm saying? But what we're doing is preserving ourselves, you know? Yeah.
That's, you know, man, like I literally just thought of 3 different areas I could take this, or we could take this, but I'll just try to like put them out just to see which one kind of sticks. But the first one is, you know, that's one thing that the right wing has really mastered over the left wing is kind of the sloganing. Yes. You know, like the one that just hits so hard is pro-life versus pro-choice. And it's like, reason why pro-life is such a good slogan, like without any research, if you just hear pro-life, that means the opposite is pro-death. Exactly. And like, you win. It's this unconscious thing that they're putting out there. And like, whereas, you know, on the left, we put something like defund the police out or abolish prisons, like free them all. People go, wait, what? You want to stop our protection? Like you want to really, like, so it's like the sloganing. And even though like, we should defund the police. Absolutely. And we should absolutely abolish all prisons. Like we absolutely should. The sloganing to the average person, it just doesn't, it doesn't work.
Yeah. It takes too much. Like we have to be like, well, because the prisons aren't keeping you safe. And neither are the police. They're not doing what you think they're doing. See how much longer it takes to say that? You're absolutely correct. Like, I can't just be like, well, what I'm saying is, you know, fund mental health experts. Like, that's not slogany. You're right, you know?
Yeah, it's like, don't send the police to do traffic stops.
Don't send the police to do traffic stops. Don't send the police. Don't fit on those protest signs. Yeah, nah, you right.
Yeah. So that's the first thing that kind of popped up. The second thing was so DeMarisa and I were just at a conference over the weekend for the Trauma Research Foundation. We were presenting on it was dope. The whole thing was amazing. Dope. Yeah. There was actually every presentation was amazing, but there was a presentation on the People of Color Psychedelic Initiative or something like that. And like because basically a lot of Black folks don't trust like psychedelic therapy for very good reason.
Of course. Yes.
You know, and that being said, like psychedelic research is in a resurgence right now. Yeah. And it's showing a lot of progress in regards to addressing like PTSD and severe trauma. Yeah. And so this woman is a studied, you know, psychotherapist and really digging into psychotherapy and psychedelic psychotherapy. And she started an initiative. She's a Black woman, and you know, she was just like, basically like we need this therapy without the fucking white person stigma. But anyways, all that to say that one of the presentations we saw was a woman who talked about her identity. Her father's Black, her mom is Japanese. And she talked about how like and this is very generalized, but you know, she never felt like she was involved in either place,
Yeah.
and both are not white. And like that impacted it, like, because both and I don't like I'm only using race in the social construct way because that is a lived reality.
Yeah.
I hate the term, like,
I get
to be
it.
very upfront. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, you know,
I'm with you.
yeah. So it just, you know, both stereotypes are like opposite ends of the spectrum in the way that white people kind of project onto it.
Yeah.
And she was talking about how it's like this bizarre place of like never actually feeling like you're safe in your own body. And like on the fucking, you know, like job interviews or censuses or anything, you always have to check other. And like, you know, and just like the psychological trauma of that, but then also people from each group being like, no, you're not really one of us. Like, you know, and so it was just, so that was the second point that kind of came up. But the third one, it's really about just how like a lot of gangsters that I've met, like the way we kind of joke about it in like a, you know, joke in a serious way,
of course,
joke as a processing mechanism, is that it's like these are people who have like the intellect of an Einstein but the emotional health of a 5-year-old. And like, so you can sit and like have these conversations, like we're going to talk about Camus, like all the fucking existentialists and shit. But then like, you know, something will happen, like this is a real incident. We were talking about philosophy, and literally one dude went and grabbed 2 trays because he was like going to separate his food into 2 whatever. The dude we were talking to just fucking snapped and like just assaulted this dude on like a,
why do you get 2 trays?
And like, but then like the other part is like, you know, not only did like the, you know, the fucking officers get involved and like he had to go into fucking solitary for like a week because of it, but he also just like felt stupid after the fact. Like he like regretted it. And like that was one of our major areas, was like just working through like the trauma, because it's like he understood that it was a problem, but it didn't matter that once that anger flared up, he was just, that's where he was. And like and so anyways, I'm just those are kind of the 3 things that popped up. I'm curious like if any of that kind of triggered anything.
No, the last part for sure, because that's what, you know, Jay-Z talks about it in like 444. You know, whenever we essentially, like, if you're able to graduate from, you know, those active years and look back at yourself, you know, to have enough, and even like enough financial space between when you're, you know, striving for resources, and now have enough to be able to sit down and contemplate the stars. Like, you got enough time to do that because you got enough resources. You do realize, like, damn, I just felt threatened, you know what I mean? And ultimately you just, it's like, I realized that later on, you know what I'm saying? When like, hey, what's up, homie? Hey, fuck you, nigga. Like, bro, I was just saying hello. You don't have the right to talk to me. It's like, okay, let's unpack that. Like, why do you know what I'm saying? Well, you're craving value and significance, you know what I'm saying? Because you don't think you already have it. You feel me? So you have to put me down. But like, once you're able to sit with yourself and be like, nah, I'm not a knucklehead. I'm not a hardhead. I'm not my mama mistake. I'm not just like my daddy. You know what I'm saying? I'm not just a product of these streets. I've actually survived a lot of things, and I bring value to the world, you know, without violence. Then it's like, hey, if you walk into the room, you know what I'm saying, and you get 2 trays, that's not an affront to me. You're not taking trays from me. You feel me? I think a lot of times it's this, you know, this Willie Lynch about like being in this environment where we're all fighting for living space. It's like, but you telling us, like, we talked about this yesterday, me and the homies, where it's like, man, you name your hoods, you name your gangs after apartments. It's like, y'all don't even, not only do you not own the house, you don't live in the house, You know what I'm saying? You don't own the street. Y'all pay rent to this apartment. Like, you dying over something that none of y'all own. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's this craving of ownership. You feel me? Like, you feel like you have nothing that's yours. So I got to fight for something that's mine. But then when you realize, when somebody finally like pierce through and just be like, listen, all this shit gonna burn. You know? None of us own anything. Like, you ain't make Earth. The fish don't own the ocean. You know, we're all here. You just, you know, when someone just like is able to kind of like go back and say like, but you got value, homie. Like, not because of this flag, you know, not because of this. You have value as a person. Like, you don't hear that when you young. You hear like your value is how many chicks you slain, your scoreboard. You know what I'm saying? You know, your certification. You feel me? Like, if you don't have that, you know what I'm saying, you don't find it nowhere else. That's all you know how to give validation. That's the only way you know how to give validation. In my mind, you know what I'm saying? Because I know, in looking back at the moments I felt like I was like, man, I'm finna take off from this dude. It was because I felt like you were robbing me of my value, you know? Whether other times when it was just like, no, this is my personal safety. And if I don't do anything, you know what I'm saying? Then like, I live here. There's nowhere else for me to go. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I have to do this. And then like, which I'm pretty sure you're aware of, the compound trauma of, if you go to war, that's overseas. I never have to see the place that my best friend dropped. You know what I'm saying? I never have to see that. Out here, I mean, that's the street corner I pass every day. My best friend dropped right there. Like, his blood's still on the concrete. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I have to see that every day. There's a compound trauma to that. You know what I'm saying? It's not in the past. It's right now. You feel me? So I think that when you live in that type of stuff, it's just the environment sometimes don't allow you the space to be able to process your feelings. When you finally get a chance to, you know, either it's too late in the sense of like one of my homies, like Dad, I mean, he in his 50s now, and he's finally being like, you know, I think I was just lonely. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, yeah, fam. I mean, like, that's probably it, man. He's like, I think I just really just wanted some friends, man. Like, I never even thought about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and now he's able to wear a shirt in the opposite color. You know what I mean? Wow. And me and the homies are looking at him like, dang, that's really growth. You know, he like, cause he like, if he's in his 50s, like, he an OG. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know, done a couple bids. You feel me? So like, looking at him now, being like, you could actually, that's, you know what, this is growth. But it just being like, you know, I was just lonely. Like, yeah. You don't have space for it.
Like, man. So like, one of the things we do is, you know, we do a lot of like engaging with fascists, you know, people who are like in that world. And like, you know, like to be perfectly upfront, you know, if it comes down to like an actual like civil war, it's like, I know where I stand.
Absolutely.
I know where I'm capable of, all of that, you know, but until hitting that point, any kind of education to get people out of that is just
absolutely valuable.
an essential thing.
Yes.
And yeah, because it was, you know, like, so I've got fascists in my family and people that I grew up with who are, you know, and like they're not like neo-Nazis or none of that shit, but like they're like very aligned with like, you know, where the Mussolinis might be, or like they would totally be a Franco supporter, that kind of shit. And it just like, when you start to like get into the psychology of it, it just, it's you know, it's people trying to fill a hole. It's it's a drug.
Yeah. It's like, I need a strong man. Yeah. I needed, like, the world is chaos. Yeah. I need someone to stand up and be like, I got this. Just fall in line with me. I got this. And your problem is them fools over there. And I'm going to make sure them fools over there stay out of your way so you can have the peace you looking for. You know what I'm saying? And that's how, that's to me, it's like, so it's, you bringing that up. It's like, yeah, man, like, that's what you look. You like, I live in this chaos. I don't know what to do with it. I just want someone to come kiss it and make it better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But that was that was one of the things. Like there was I had a sometimes it's just trolling people online, but like sometimes it's like worth having like deeper discussions. Like there was a guy I was talking to where we were talking about the border, and he was just I don't want the Mexicans coming over here. And it's like, keep in mind, this is a dude from Ohio.
Yeah.
Like how like
point at one.
Yeah.
Look around, point at a Mexican
well,
for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they all work at like the restaurant that this dude loves.
That
like,
we're all sitting at. Yeah.
Yeah.
You like that burger, bro?
Yeah.
Mexicans.
But it was like it was one of those things like where we got to like actually talking it through, and he was like, well, the economy, like they're impacting the economy. So we look it up, and it's like turns out that other than a couple of like small local areas, like undocumented workers from Mexico actually enhance local economies,
really
and
help.
they have a major impact on state and federal economy in a positive way. And it was like, all right, so they're bringing in like violence and everything like that. So we look up that, and it's like, all right, turns out that immigrants as a whole are less violent, have less violence than natural born citizens, but undocumented immigrants actually have the least amount of violence out of all the immigrants that come in here. And so it's like, all right,
if you just take 1 second to think about it logically, if you sneaking in somewhere, you trying to play it low. Why would you commit 1 million crimes? Just think about it logically. No, you trying to be quiet as a church mouse. Yeah,
exactly. Well, and then the third one, it was like, well, they're like bringing in, like terrorists, which he meant Arabic. He meant Muslim Arabic people. And so like we look it up, and it's like turns out first off, the most extreme crimes like that we would identify as terrorists, it's all white people. It's all fucking white fascists. But the Islamic terrorists who have committed crimes outside of the 9/11 folks, they were all born here. They didn't come over they didn't come from the fucking from the border. So like it was just like, and I have no idea like where this dude ended up landing, but like we literally talked through all of his points
piece by piece.
And it just like, just kind of like, I don't know where he landed, to be totally upfront, but like it's that same kind of thing where like it's like, dude, you're literally scared about something that's just made up. Like it's not even true. Like the thing, like all of your points, just like in a simple Google search, like we're just disintegrated. It was like, these folks don't pose a threat. These folks, and like that didn't even get into the whole, how long the immigration process takes. It's like, why the fuck do you think people are coming in the way they're doing it? And then like the last point is, the crime, like the quote unquote legality of coming into the United States undocumented, that's a misdemeanor. And it's like, so why the fuck do we have a specialized like SWAT team force to lock these people up in these prison settings for a year and a half without giving them anything, like separating the family, like why are we doing that? And it's like, and also, why the fuck aren't we doing this with undocumented white Canadians?
Canadians. Like, you don't see no Swedish people in them things.
Exactly. So it's just, I'm sorry for that ramble, but
no, that's a good point, man. It's just like, we're like, but to your point, that's data, and that takes long. And that's you can't put all them data points on a poster.
It's like that's a really bad slogan to bring to a protest. Like, it's like undocumented immigrants actually help the economy, except for a few local situations.
No, your crime rates are wrong.
So I don't want to take up all your time. You've been here for an hour, and it was super cool to meet you and all of that.
Man, you too. I love what y'all doing.
I guess like is there anything that we didn't cover that you might want to just cover for like the last few moments?
No, I think like the biggest thing is, like you said, like, man, like work through your shit. Like, don't be afraid of it. it's actual strength, you know what I'm saying? And for you to you like affirming the value of the intelligence base of a lot of these people who just got in trouble, you know what I'm saying? I always want to hammer that home. Like, these people are not smarter than you. You know, it's just a vocabulary change. The more that you understand the vocabulary, that you use what you got, you know what I'm saying, the knowledge you have that gained over so many shared experiences, man, like you're well equipped, you know. And I just want to encourage y'all, man, like, if you know, in whatever way you can to keep like investing in that community, man, that like please do, you know, to get them tools, man, to work on yourself, you know what I'm saying? Work on your heart, your soul, you know, because a lot of times that's really it. You know what I mean? We was just lonely. You know what I'm saying? We was just lonely and needed somebody to just say they love us. You know?
Yeah. We talk about it a lot on the podcast about the, you know, because we're New York centric, so a lot of our stuff is coming from that. But, you know, there's the 7 targeted neighborhoods here.
Of course.
Harlem, Crown Heights, Bed-Stuy, Brownville, you know, Brownsville, like, and like one thing, and you know, it's always a little uncomfortable because, you know, don't know how people are gonna feel, but like I always tell them, like, right up front, it's like, listen, like, if I was a different skin color and I was in a different neighborhood, like I'd be here.
Just like that.
Like,
yep.
We were doing the nasty shit where I grew up.
Yeah.
Like, I had a friend who fucking robbed a house.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like all that shit. But his dad was a preacher. Mom was a lawyer. Like, you know, so he didn't really do any time for it, you know, but it's like, but we were 15 and like, it's like, like, but you know, we weren't fucking targeted. So like, we never ended up in the loop. Yeah. Like there are dudes that we've met who are, you know, 19 years old and like this is like their 6th time through. Yeah. You know, and it's like it's all sorts of fucked. And like you know, obviously like we're doing everything we can to support you know, your community and that and just all of that. And then, you know, just another mission is like my community has caused so many problems and they're oblivious to it. Yeah. You know, like, and that's just one thing, like, is really focusing on educating, you know, like the last point I'll just say to you is, you know, a lot of people in my neck of the woods, I guess, like they don't like hip hop music because of like what they're talking about, but like they love like Johnny Cash and shit like that. And it's like, you know, Johnny Cash talks about the same shit that Biggie Smalls talks about. Yeah. Like it's all about murder and robbery and like gang rapes and everything. Like it's all about that and like drug use. And like the only difference is you don't like who's saying, you don't like it out. You don't like who's saying it. And you don't like how they're saying it, but it's like, you have no fucking problem with the content. Yeah. Like, it's like you just don't like the person saying it and how they're saying it. And you got to admit that, which is a lot harder to admit. Yeah. And then when people actually do admit it, they start to realize that they don't feel that way. Yeah. And I don't know. Yeah. But it's just scary. Yeah. So how can people find you? Where can people find you
PropHipHop is everything. That's .com. That's the ad handles. You can go to Hood Politics Pod, you know, to hear about more of the stuff we talk about here. Is a lot of that's in that show. But yeah, PropHipHop.com. You can get the cold brew coffee there. You can get the music, the poetry, the books. Everything's there.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Maderi Music. You can subscribe to patreon.com/Maderi Music for $5 per month. Get a complete second episode every other week and access our entire archive of premium episodes.
We love doing this, but it requires a substantial amount of time and energy. So our goal is to earn enough to cover 2 incomes.
Thank you so much if you're already a subscriber. Your subscription allows us to remain ad-free and editorially independent.
If you can't contribute financially, please consider posting about us on social media and sharing with your friends and community. You can find everything else at our website, www.maderimusic.com.
In the words of our comrade, Asada Shakur, it is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to win. We must love each other and support each other. We have nothing to lose but our chains. We'll see you next time.
$5. Man, that ain't shit.
I don't know if it was worth $5, but it was pretty fucking good.